We are Blackboard. We are Arizona.
Return to the Bay Area. Last weekend we were in Oakland. Now it's back to our usual side of the Bay Bridge, San Francisco. The first place D-backs back in the division and opening up a key NL West road trip. D-backs and Giants on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from AT&T Park. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew, Bob Renly along the way, the first of three against the Giants. D-backs coming off a 5-1 homestand that saw an offensive uptick, led in no small part, Bob, by the red-hot Ketel Marte.
Yeah, a lot of guys in the offense heated up, but nobody got hotter than Ketel Marte during that six-game homestand. A .421 batting average, 8 for 19, hit a couple of homers, a couple of triples, 3 doubles. He drove in 6, scored 7, and played his usual stellar defense up the middle. He is on a red-hot roll right now.
And back in there tonight against Giants lefty Derek Holland. Zach Godley on the mound for the D-backs tonight. This is where, Bob, Zach had his best start of the year.
Yeah, 7 innings of 4-hit shutout baseball against Derek Holland in that game. Struck out 9, didn't walk a batter. Zach's hit a few speed bumps in the road recently. Hopefully pitching here at AT&T Park will get him back on track.
3 against the Giants and 3 in Colorado this weekend. It all starts next on Fox Sports Arizona.
D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By BJ's Restaurant and Brew House. Visit bjsrestaurants.com to find a location near you. By Tire Pros of Arizona. Everything rotates around you. And by your Valley Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money. On Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free Jumbo Jacks only at Jack in the Box. By Buick, visit your local Buick dealer. By Santan Ford, we are Santan Ford. by One AZ Credit Union. Let's bank together. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. D-backs and Giants, first of 3 at AT&T Park. Zach Godley and Derek Holland. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Cool, just under 60 degrees. Steve Berthew, Bob Renly, Jody Jackson with you. It's the D-backs and the Giants. D-backs have won 3 in a row, 5 of 6, now 4 over 500. And a game and a half clear of Colorado atop the National League West. Rockies have the night off tonight. Here's the D-backs starting lineup. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealer.
Well, against the left-hander tonight, Nick Ahmed finds his way to the top of the batting order, playing shortstop. David Peralta batting second out in left field. Paul Goldschmidt hitting third, playing first base. John Ryan Murphy cleaning up and doing the catching. Jake Lamb down at third base. Chris Owings in right field. The red-hot Ketel Marte at second base. Gerard Dyson once again in center field. And right-hander Zach Godley on the mound for the D-backs.
And for the Giants here, Ram Truck starting pitcher is the lefty Derek Holland, 31 years old. 3 and 6 and 11 starts, an ERA just under 5.
Yeah, we mentioned Zach Godley pitching well against the Giants here at AT&T. Derek Holland was his opponent in that game, and he pitched really well. 6 innings of 2-hit ball. He gave up a couple of runs, but it was a 2-1 Diamondbacks victory.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the Giants defense tonight.
Andrew McCutchen out in right field. Gorky Hernandez will be in center. Hunter Pence sliding into left field with McCutchen playing right. It'll be Evan Longoria at third base. Brandon Crawford at short. Joe Panik at second base. Pablo Sandoval filling in for Brandon Belt. Occasionally at first base. Buster Posey behind the plate for lefty Derek Holland.
Well, Tony Perez-Chica went out there without his helmet, our third base coach. So we'll have a moment here to check the umpires. Lance Barrett, as TP gets himself squared away. Lance Barrett has the balls and strikes behind the plate. Tony Randazzo is at first base. Crew chief Bill Welke's at second and Brian Knight's at third. Time now, Bob, for your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
Keep it simple. Tacos for the win. Diamondbacks are 19-0 this year when they score at least 5 runs, and when they score 5 runs, we get tacos.
I like what you did there. Nick Ahmed leads it off. A fastball is right at the knees for strike 1. And we're underway. Ahmed 210, 8 homers. It was extremely windy in San Francisco today, and that wind, as it
always does during the course of a game here, will change, I'm sure, but right now it is gusting out to right center field.
You know, saying it's windy here in San Francisco is like saying it's hot in Phoenix.
It was a little extra windy, though. Flags were flapping.
They were. It was very, you know, obviously nobody in the stands early before batting practice, and you could really hear those flags cracking out there on the poles above the scoreboard and in right center field.
D-backs were out here very early this afternoon, about 2 o'clock or so, taking extra hitting before batting practice. Ahmed down, a ball and 2 strikes. Holland goes to a breaking ball and gets the strikeout.
Yeah, Holland will feature a couple of different fastballs, a 4-seamer and a sinking 2-seamer. You know, the curveball is the most used breaking pitch, but he does have that late breaking sharp slider that he just got Nick Ahmed. Also throws an occasional straight changeup.
David Peralta has homered in 3 straight games for the first time in his career. 267 now with 10 home runs. Fastball is there from Holland, 0-1. Mark Trumbo, Mark Reynolds, Troy Gloss, and Reggie Sanders, the only players in D-backs history to homer in 4 consecutive games. Troy Gloss actually did it twice. David down 0-2. Fastball is right there, and Peralta is caught looking.
That was that 2-seamer with a little bit of tailing action. Looked like a pitch was headed for the outside corner, but tailed right back over the heart of the plate for David Peralta.
Here's Goldie batting .208, 8 home runs. First pitch fastball right down the middle, but he missed it. 0-1. Goldie always seems to hit well in this ballpark. He doubled, tripled, and homered twice when we were here for 3 games back in early April. Giants have the shift on against him. That fastball's inside. It's 1-1. Derek Holland doing a good job of keeping everything down. A strike away from striking out the side to start the ball game.
You know, and we see it with Diamondbacks pitchers. They go out there early in the ball game, and you kind of have to wait to see what's working on a given night to see what their go-to pitch is going to be. And so far, it looks like Derek Holland's feeling that slider tonight.
That slider just missed a tick below the knees. Goldie able to lay off, and it's 2-2. Derek Holland strikes out the side. Zach Godley coming up from San Francisco. Bottom one in San Francisco, no score. Your Ram Truck starting pitcher for the D-backs, Zach Godley, 5-4 in 11 starts.
Coming off a win against the Cincinnati Reds on that last homestand, went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits and 2 runs in a 5-2 win.
Joe Panik leads it off for the Giants. Panik hitting .297. He's got 3 homers.
That'll be a big key for Zach Godley tonight. We've seen over his last number of starts the lack of fastball command that's put him in some favorable hitters' counts like this one, 2-0 to Joe Panik.
Breaking balls in there for a strike. Panik has 2 hits in each of his last 3 games. Just came back after missing more than a month following left thumb surgery. Doubles up on that breaking ball, 2-2. Buster Posey batting second tonight. He'll be next. Giants have a couple of red hot bats in their lineup, and Posey is one of them. That one's fouled away.
And a number of these San Francisco Giants hitters have had good career numbers against the Diamondbacks. Joe Panik among them, a .317 career hitter in 60 games against the Diamondbacks.
Another fastball missed, and it's full 3-2. Valley Chevy Dealers has the Giants lineup tonight.
Panik leading it off at second base. Buster Posey doing the catching, batting second. Andrew McCutchen will be out in right field with Brandon Crawford at short. Evan Longoria at third base. Pablo Sandoval at first. Hunter Pence in left field with Gorkys Hernandez in center, and lefty Derek Holland on the mound.
Oh, high hopper that Ahmed is able to corral, recover, and make the play to get Panik at first. What a stop there by Nick Ahmed. That one almost ate him up.
That was actually 3 different plays. Number 1, just to stop this hot shot off the bat. Pops up in the air. He loses it momentarily, grabs it with the bare hand, and fires a rocket to Goldie just in time to get Panik.
Well, he is something down there. What a play by Nick. So 1 out for Posey. Posey hit a home run here yesterday, and the Giants win over the Phillies. Again, Godley misses with a fastball and falls behind in the count. Buster at .303, 4 homers. He's homered twice in his last 4 games. Zach Godley coming off a win over the Reds in his previous start. That was last Tuesday. Zach gave up just 2 runs on 6 hits in 6 innings, had 7 strikeouts. To build on that here tonight.
Well, these guys on this Diamondbacks roster are all pretty smart. They understand how the disabled list works and rehabilitation outings, and Zach Godley and everybody else in that pitching staff knows that there's some healthy arms coming back shortly.
Posey reaches out and pokes it down the right field line, a 1-out single. E.D. Marshall Jewelers takes a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense tonight.
Peralta, Dyson, and Owings left to right across the outfield. Infield will be Jake Lamb at third, Nick Ahmed at short, Ketel Marte at second, and Paul Goldschmidt over at first base with John Ryan Murphy behind the plate for right-hander Zach Godley.
Here is Andrew McCutchen. Batting .248, he's got 4 homers. First pitch fastball right down Main Street. McCutchen missed it.
McCutchen homered here yesterday in the Giants win over the Phillies. He snuck it inside the right field foul pole off Jake Arrieta into the second row of seats. You don't often see right-hand batters hit home runs out there in this ballpark. Wouldn't check his swing, and it's 0-2.
I'm sure as the evening progresses, we'll get around to talking about the MLB first-year player draft. First 3 hitters in the Giants lineup, all #1 picks. Panik in 2011, Posey in 08, McCutchen with the Pirates in 05.
Swing and a miss. Godley gets his first strikeout.
Some real tentative hacks there by Andrew McCutchen.
That good curveball.
Yeah, that Zach Godley curveball will make you take some funny looking swings.
He's got to throw that for a strike and not just try and bury it in the dirt all the time. Torey Lovullo was talking about that again today. That's a key for him. Throw that curveball for a strike. Smoking hot right now, Brandon Crawford. 314, 6 homers. Batting cleanup. Posey at first, 2 outs. Crawford has hit safely in 17 of his last 19 games, and during that run he's hitting almost 440. He is a really tough out right now. There's a strike, 1-1. They don't shift against Crawford per se, but Ahmed is almost right behind the bag at second. That one skips behind John Ryan Murphy, and Posey moves up. Now they're going to say it hit Crawford, and he'll take first.
Wow. I believe that was a fastball that he just spiked all the way over there in that left-handed batter's box, out in front of the left-handed batter's box, and it clipped Crawford. He'll take first base.
So 2 on and 2 out for Evan Longoria. A .255 batting average. He's got 10 home runs. There's that breaker for a strike, 0-1. Fastball just off the plate. Lance Barrett says strike 2. Longoria doesn't like it. Lance Barrett, people that evaluate umpires over at Sports Info Solutions tell us he is Mr. Outside Corner. I think we just saw it. Buried that breaking ball, and Longoria strikes out. Godley strands 2. No score in San Francisco.
The Diamondbacks and the Giants. Jody Jackson with you. It's time for our top of the order. We know part of the resurgence of the offense, well, John Ryan Murphy has been that. He's going to lead off this inning, and he's had 5 homers in his last 8 games, 3 on the homestand. Torey Lovullo said today he was asking hitting coach Dave Magadan about what he's seen from JR that's different this year than when they acquired him last year. He said he's using his lower body, and when he was coming up with the Yankees, a lot of it was catching first. So, guys, he thinks it could be the tip of the iceberg with his offensive prowess and really coming into his own as a player. And then what they learned from the offensive drought, we want to forget about it. We want to put it in the past. But Torey Lovullo says, look, there are some, he called it red hot spots to avoid. When you fall into a pattern, when you're starting to fall into certain habits, they want to take a look back and maybe learn from those things, try to avoid those things.
Well, here is John Ryan Jody in the cleanup spot tonight against Derek Holland, who struck out the side on 12 pitches in the first, and he jumps ahead of Murphy 0-2. There's John Ryan, 265, those 8 homers. 0 for 4 in his start behind the plate yesterday in the win over Miami. That snapped a 5-game hit streak for him.
It's not unusual for a catcher to focus on his defense and handling a pitching staff first, and then the offense whenever you can work it in. I think back to spring training, and catchers hitting is a luxury. I mean, the hitting coach has to schedule a time of day for the catchers to get any extra work in because they're so busy catching pitchers. Especially that first week of camp when it's just pitchers and catchers, and you're down in that bullpen, you're out on the field catching live batting practice, and you're back to the bullpen, and oh yeah, last 15 minutes of the day, get some cuts in.
And I would think doubly so for D-backs catchers, considering that defense and pitch calling is the priority with that position. More so maybe than in some other front offices.
And for John Ryan Murphy and Alex Avila, learning an entire new pitching staff when you got over to Salt River Fields for spring training. Yeah, the emphasis is always on the defensive side of the game for a catcher. You know, they're the Mike Piazzas of the world that come rolling along every now and again. They're offense first, but for the most part, teams want catchers that can handle the game behind the plate.
Chased a high fastball, and Derek Holland has struck out the first 4 batters he's faced.
John Ryan expanding his zone a little bit. That pitch up above the letters. Buster Posey way off the outside corner. They didn't want to throw him a strike right there. John Ryan Murphy chased the pitch up.
And that's the pitch that Torey Lovullo had told us the other day that the hitters had started to lay off when we've seen this offensive upsurge. Not chasing that high fastball, but Murphy did that time. Jake Lamb, 224. Giants put 3 infielders on the first base side. There's another Derek Holland strike.
Yeah, I think the new conventional wisdom in the game is with everybody trying to uppercut the ball and get that launch angle they're looking for to go up the ladder, even more than they've ever done in the past. That's a tough ball to get on if you're trying to lift it in the air, that fastball up above the top of the zone. I think the whole thing, the philosophy of the game could possibly change considerably. You know, you teach pitchers, keep the ball down, keep the ball down, keep the ball down, and all of a sudden offenses are whacking that ball out in the bay. Well, get the ball up. Let's try getting the ball up. See if that works.
That fastball just missed inside, and Lamb's ahead 2 balls and 1 strike. Really moving the ball around Derek Holland. High fastballs working inside and outside to land here. Chris Owings on deck. Jake hits one in the air to McCutcheon in right field. 2 down in the second.
As I mentioned a moment ago, the first-year player draft taking place today. I already see one glaring mistake.
Too many catchers drafted?
No, not enough. But the Milwaukee Brewers, with their 21st pick in the first round, took a shortstop, Bryce Terang. I'm sure Bryce Terang is a very good player.
Okay.
But they passed on a guy that went 7 picks later to the Houston Astros, a first baseman from Clemson by the name of Seth Beer. How can the Brewers pass on a guy named Seth Beer?
What happened in that meeting?
I don't know. That's a swing and a miss.
Big time.
D-backs with their pick, 25th overall, took a high school shortstop from California who was committed to UCLA, so Tori Lavello is going to be conflicted about that.
The Alumni Association of UCLA is going to get on him.
CO ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. That's hit hard. Oh, what a play by Crawford. And Owings is aboard. Infield hit for CO. But Brandon Crawford, there's another UCLA shortstop right there.
That ball looked like it was easily going to get through into left field, but Crawford dives, catches it right up in the webbing, doesn't have time to get to his feet, and couldn't get anything on that throw across the diamond. With CO speed, I doubt if they get him even with a good throw.
Brandon Crawford, you just saw why last year, his 3rd straight National League Gold Glove at shortstop. The red hot Ketel Marte. 6 games on the last homestand. Let's see, 3 doubles, a pair of triples. He homered from each side of the plate in the same game. He drove in 6 runs and he scored 7 times.
His last 6 hits have gone for extra bases.
It was quite a homestand for Ketel.
Hey, hot dog!
And at a ballpark that they call right center field Triples Alley, if he could find his way to drive one out into that gap in right center, the way he runs the bases, we might see an inside the park homer.
He's leading everybody with 6 triples this year. There is Triples Alley, 421 into that corner. Wind blowing out that way hard right now.
And we've talked about it in games here at AT&T Park in the past. A lot of teams, including the Giants, usually pinch their right fielder over toward that Triples Alley. Idea being if the ball's hit right down the right field line, it's probably going to be a double. If one's hitting that gap in right center, it's 3, maybe 4.
This is headed toward the corner for McCutcheon. And he's got it backing up just shy of the wall out there. Bottom 2 from San Francisco on the way. No score, the D-backs and the Giants.
Our timeless moment brought to you by Coors Bank. Well, the timeless moment happened for Matt McLean this afternoon, a shortstop out of Beckman High School in Southern California, 5'10", 175 pounds. Some list him as a second baseman, others as a shortstop. This is his time this month.
Yeah, some of the scouting reports say Matt McLean, line drive hitter, plus speed, very good hands either at shortstop or at second base. He's now a Diamondback. He had committed to UCLA. Pablo Sandoval is the first baseman for the Giants. Panda hitting 256, 2 homers. The Giants are without Brandon Belt, who had an appendectomy late Friday night. There's a little tapper foul. They expect to be without Belt for about 3 weeks. And so Sandoval, according to Bruce Bochy, is going to be out there at first base, mostly against right-hand pitching. We'll see Posey at first against lefty. Just got a piece of that curveball. You never know where you'll see Pablo Sandoval this year. He's really actually been a valuable piece on the bench for Bruce Bochy. He's had starts at second base, third base, DH, a couple of games at second, first. He's even pitched 1 inning. All right, to Ketel Marte at second. Zach Godley, who got off to a bit of a shaky start in the first inning, Bob, has now jumped ahead 0-2 on 3 of the last 4 hitters he's faced.
That's when you know Zach is attacking that strike zone, both with the curveball and the fastball. And you mentioned just not spiking every curveball in the dirt, which is what you want to do when you're ahead in the count. Hopefully expand the zone and get guys to chase that bad curveball, but find that zone a little more consistently so guys respect the pitch even more.
The struggling Hunter Pence. Pence just came back yesterday from a right thumb sprain. He'd been out since the middle of April, missed more than 40 games. Adding under 170 on the year. Once again, Godley gets ahead 0-1. Activating Pence meant the Giants had to designate Gregor Blanco, the former D-back, for assignment. Blanco was cleared waivers. He's going to report to AAA Sacramento tomorrow. So he'll stay in the Giants system.
Yeah, the tough thing about Hunter Pence, you mentioned he's having a rough start to his season this year. This is a 3-time National League All-Star. Even when he was an All-Star, he looked like he was struggling. Very unorthodox swing, very unorthodox defender.
Goldie has to range in near the D-back dugout, collects that one. But the numbers for Pence kind of speak for themselves. He looks like, sad to say, he's near the end at the age of 35 here. 2 down for Gorkys Hernandez, the center fielder. And this guy is quietly having a very nice offensive season, hitting .300 with 6 home runs. Hernandez is another launch angle guy. He's seen a big increase in that, and his 6 homers this year, already a career high. Very good defensive outfielder. Just missed the outside corner that time for Lance Barrett. It's 2-0.
Hey, you mentioned a career high 6 homers for Gorkys Hernandez. He hit a total of 8 in his previous 4 seasons.
Launch angle. This is why everybody's lining up. One got away from Zach, and it's 3-0. They've got the pitcher Derek Holland on deck. Ground to shortstop for Nick Ahmed. Zach Godley a 1-2-3 second. No score at AT&T Park. score, D-backs and Giants. The 2018 FIFA World Cup is coming to Fox at FS1. Every match live. Over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event only 10 days away on Fox and FS1. Gerard Dyson leads off the third against the Dutch oven, Derek Holland. Dyson in center field again tonight. D-backs, by the way, just made their second pick of the 2018 draft. They selected left-hand batter and thrower Jake McCarthy from the University of Virginia, 6'3", 195. His brother Joe was drafted out of UVA in the 5th round 3 years ago by Tampa Bay. Jake is the younger brother. So the D-backs today have taken a high school infielder from California and a college outfielder from the University of Virginia. Two and one on Gerard Dyson. That fastball missed, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Gerard in his last 5 games. He's another guy that had a really nice homestand. Godley on deck. Dyson, last 5 games, has walked 4 times. He's got 6 hits and he scored 5 runs. So he has been an impact player in this lineup.
And a lot of that came out of the leadoff spot when Torrey decided to make the change and move David Peralta down in the middle to give him more RBI opportunities. Gerard Dyson, the most logical candidate to move up to the top of the order, and he looked right at home in that leadoff spot.
Sure did. Interesting, Bob. Torrey, and he admitted this to us before the game today, he went out of his way because Bruce Bochy is in the other dugout to make sure it was right, left, right, left, right, left, all the way down through. You know, why is that such a priority against Bruce Bochy?
Well, Bruce Bochy has a reputation, and well earned, of knowing how to use his bullpen, how to play the matchups late in the game. We've all seen it playing against the Giants as Dyson grounds one to Panic in second, no problem. We've seen it sometimes to excess, where Bruce Bochy will play matchups sometimes from the 7th inning of the ball game on. And so you'd like to have a balanced lineup and force Bochy to make a lot of pitching changes if he wants to play matchups.
Zach Godley now. The Giants are kind of quietly turning things around here. They're still without Johnny Cueto and Jeff Samardzija, get Madison Bumgarner back tomorrow. We just lost Brandon Belt to that appendectomy, but Giants are playing well right now. They're a game under 500, only 2.5 back of the D-backs for the division lead. And they're still in the discussion very much. There's Crawford at shortstop today.
Hey, fans, the D-backs home run tonight means a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Giants this weekend here swept the Phillies. They've won 4 in a row. In fact, not only did they sweep a 3-game set from Philadelphia over the weekend, they outscored the Phillies 12-1 in those 3 games.
And the 1 run was a home run by Jake Arrieta, a pitcher.
How about that? And that right left matchup that Torrey was looking for, big reason why Nick Ahmed is in the leadoff spot tonight. First start in the leadoff spot this year for Nick. Up there against the left-hander Holland, that's fouled away. Nick this year hitting just over 270 versus lefties. That includes 4 home runs. Derek Holland coming off a win in his last start. Beat the Rockies in Colorado last Wednesday. Gave up 4 runs, 8 hits, and 5. He pitched extremely well against the D-backs.
matched up against Zach Godley here at AT&T Park back on April 9th, his second start this year. Gave up only 2 hits in 6 innings, had 8 strikeouts on him. He's already punched out 4 here tonight. But behind on Ahmed, 3-1 with Peralta on deck. In fact, those 8 strikeouts against the D-backs, still a season high for Derek Holland. Nick sends one to left center, and that gets down and reaches the wall. Ahmed pulls in at second with his 10th double.
Ooh, belt high fastball up and out over the plate. Nick all over it. Pulls that ball hard to the gap in left center field. Get down all the way to the wall. Hernandez gets it back in to hold Nick Ahmed to a double.
104 miles an hour on the exit velocity off the bat of Nick Ahmed. A chance for Peralta now. Ahmed at second and 2 outs. David struck out looking his first time up. David with a 4-game hitting streak. He's got 6 RBIs during that streak. Ryan DePanfilo on the top step. See if David Peralta can walk this off.
Look, he fouled it off his back knee.
Here comes Ryan and Torrey to have a look.
Just above the left knee. That's a little bit of a Charlie horse. If you've ever been punched in that quad muscle, watch the muscle contract mightily. I think that's what David's going through right now.
Why were you ever punched in the quad muscle?
You used to do that with your buddies, knuckle them right in the quad.
Again, with the violence. I'm very concerned.
I ran with a tough crowd.
Yes, you did. So far, you're blowing up model cars, trying to throw the ball at each other as hard as you possibly can, and punching each other in the leg.
Yeah, that was just in the morning.
Your childhood was a Three Stooges episode.
I never missed the Three Stooges. That was
Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. And hopefully David can walk this one off.
He's just got a little Charlie horse. We'll check with Ryan DePanfilo after the game, and he'll say, yeah, it's like somebody punched him in the quad with a knuckle.
Just like as a kid. Well, David has been down against Holland 0-2 in both his at-bats so far tonight, trying to get Ahmed home from second with 2 outs. Seriously, I'm surprised no one called child services.
Yeah, child services would have been scared to come out to my neighborhood. Whatever's going on, we don't want to know about.
I get why. 1-2. Either way, this is good. It takes Derek Holland out of that rhythm he's been in after striking out the first 4 batters today. That slider that missed. 2-2 now. Goldie struck out his first time up. Fastball way outside, and Peralta's worked it back full 3-2.
Look, he fouled that one off the front foot.
Third 3-ball count of this inning for Derek Holland.
taking a beating up there this at bat. He's got that protective guard on the ankle. That one actually hit the ground first before coming up and hitting him in the right leg.
Holland about to throw pitch number 50. Popped it up behind second. Crawford. And Holland strands the 2-out double. No score in San Francisco.
Geico on this day back in 2009. A big left-hander, Randy Johnson, picked up his 300th win in the first game of a doubleheader. Look at that defense. Became the 24th pitcher in Major League Baseball history to reach the 300 victory plateau.
As a Giant.
As a Giant.
Still seems weird.
My lasting memory of Randy with the Giants was actually when he was with the Diamondbacks and we had a brawl and the hats were laying all over the field and Randy picked up a Giants hat and put it on by mistake.
Oops. Well, he was so tall nobody noticed. Godley tags out Derek Holland to open up the bottom of the third. Well, Godley struggled a bit through a bumpy first inning, 21 pitches, but he's coming off a 14-pitch second. He's now retired 5 in a row, and here's the leadoff man, Joe Panik. Panik has, you may have noticed, altered his batting stance a little bit. His feet are all kind of turned and twisted. Says he's trying to get more of his hips into the swing. The front foot is positioned a little awkward. Good curveball there, and it's 1-1.
Not quite as far as Denard Span. Turning that front foot almost toward the catcher to try to close that front hip.
Now that back foot will turn. Toes are sort of pointing at each other there. Good shot from our director, Brian Moss. Well, this is where Joe Panik has you right where he wants you. He is an excellent two-strike hitter. In fact, in each of the last 2 seasons, he has been the toughest player in the National League to strike out. Here comes the curveball. One got away from Godley, and it's 2-2. Buster Posey will be next. He's got the only Giants hit. Panik battling with 2 strikes. He knows he's not a guy that's going to hit 40 home runs. He's got to be able to battle you with 2 strikes. He understands what type of hitter he is, and he is a really good one.
Unlike a lot of hitters nowadays who refuse to change their approach with 2 strikes. They're going to try to pull the ball and hit it out of the ballpark even in 2-strike counts. Wow, good pitch.
Really good pitch. Lance Barrett didn't bite. Fastball right at the knees, and it's full.
Fist pump there from John Ryan Murphy. There you go.
Pulls that one foul down the line. Yeah, what was that all about?
Just encouraging him. Give me your best curveball. 2-strike count. 3-2 count. And obviously you don't want to walk him. Just really focus on making the pitch to the target.
There it is again. Came back with a fastball that time. This is a good example of Panik. Just battling with 2 strikes.
I guarantee you from the advance reports and all the homework that John Ryan Murphy did before the ball game, he's well aware that Joe Panik is a good 2-strike hitter. Maybe that's why he's trying to encourage Zach Godley. Give me your best pitch right here.
This is the 8th pitch of the at-bat. And Godley's going to win the battle. It's up in that win for Dyson. 2 outs.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Posey singled his first time up. So he's now hit safely in 6 straight games. Buster Posey now the longest tenured Giants player. He turned 31 years old at the end of spring training. He was 23 when he came up to stay with the Giants. He was mostly playing first base when he first got here. That was May of 2010.
The Giants, I think they knew what they had in Buster Posey, a versatile guy, played all over the place in college. He used to close. And they had a lead late.
Drafted out of Florida State, 5th overall back in 2000.
You know, and they threw him right into the fire behind the plate. They had some really good pitching staffs back then. That was the days of Matt Cain and Tim Lincecum and Matt Bum starting his career. They had some really good young pitchers, and they just threw Buster back there behind the plate and said, go get him. This is your staff.
And he did. Fastball right at the knees. Zach Godley has retired 7 straight, no score at AT&T Park. Francisco, no score D-backs and Giants. Time for Lowe's whole team together. Talking D-back dingers. It was a heck of a homestand.
Yeah, no kidding. Previous 23 games, they hit 14. In that homestand, they hit 50 in 6 games.
Goldie leads off the 4th against Derek Holland. He struck out his first time. As we continue to watch the Major League Baseball draft, which is ongoing right now, D-backs have already made 2 picks. Took a high school infielder from California, a college outfielder from UVA. I did notice that the Giants, who everybody was watching the draft here because they picked 2nd overall. You'll like this. They drafted a catcher out of Georgia Tech whose name is Joey Bart, B-A-R-T, which of course is the transportation system here in the Bay Area.
Bay Area Rapid Transit. The marketing people have to love that.
So the Brewers didn't draft a guy named Beer.
Yeah, drop the ball.
But in San Francisco, they drafted a guy named Bart. 1-2 on Goldie. Odd to consider the Giants drafting a catcher. They seem to have a pretty good one here.
Yeah, but
we've reached that point now.
Yeah, how many more years do you want to run Buster Posey back there behind the plate? I've been advocating for years to get him out from behind the plate at another position that's a little less taxing, but Buster wants to catch.
And Joey Bart, being a college catcher coming out of an excellent program at Georgia Tech, is a little more advanced, further along than a high school player would be.
Yeah, I'm sure the Giants would like to think that Joey Bart is maybe just a couple of minor league seasons away from possibly challenging for the starting job up here at AT&T Park.
Well, he can already do PSAs for the Bart system here once he gets to be a Giant. Two and two. Goldschmidt, Murphy, Lamb, 3, 4, and 5 here in the D-back 4th. Lays off a breaking ball low, and it's full 3 and 2. Derek Holland starting to throw a lot of pitches, approaching 60 for the ball game here in the 4th inning. Goldie's got a base hit. A leadoff single into left field. Third hit for the D-backs.
Yeah, the first 2 hits both came with 2 outs in the inning. Goldie leading it off with that base hit into left field. See if the Diamondbacks can chase him around there.
Cleanup man John Ryan Murphy, the strikeout victim. Holland struck out the first 4 batters he faced tonight. Takes away from Buster Posey, not far enough for Goldie to be able to advance. Well, we know John Ryan is hot, as Jody mentioned earlier, 5 homers in his last 8 games. But look at these numbers against left-handers. 351, that includes 5 homers. So this is a good matchup for him. This is good. Whatever rhythm Derek Holland had to start with is completely gone. He's had a lot of 3-ball counts the last inning or so. Tempo and pace have changed for him. He's starting to spike some breaking balls.
Command of that slider that was so sharp in that first inning when he punched out the side. He just hasn't been as sharp since that first inning with the slider.
5 straight first pitch strikes to open the game for Derek Holland. Only 3 cents. He's gone to 3-ball counts on 4 the last 5 batters he's faced, in fact. Behind on Murphy 2-0. There's a fastball in for a strike. D-backs coming in, winners of 3 straight and 5 of 6. Game and a half ahead of Colorado for the National League West lead. Rockies have the night off. Will be at Coors Field starting on Friday.
Cross up the way Buster attacked that ball.
Probably the reason why he didn't get the call from Lance Barrett. It was a pretty good pitch. It ended up being in a good spot, but it's 3-1. Another 3-ball count for Derek Holland.
Watch the glove. He's not sure which way to turn it. Fingers down, fingers up. I'm not sure. Gets kicked around a little bit by Lance Barrett after that, but never got far enough away for Goldie to advance. That's a pick move to first, I believe. Thumb. It's one of those universal signs. Just flip your thumb out there a couple times. That means pick to first base. Other teams use more complicated signs, but that's the one everybody knows.
Jake Lamb on deck. 3-1 to John Ryan Murphy. That fastball missed inside, but they got the call that time and it's full. So that's, let's see, 3 consecutive full counts for Derek Holland. D-backs done a very good job taking him out of his rhythm. And now it's time to take advantage.
Ryan Murphy doesn't get to a lot of 3-ball counts. He's only walked 3 times all year. He's going to attack something in that strike zone early, usually.
And to pop it up very short right. McCutcheon on a dead run. He finally gets under it. And that's the first out here in the 4th.
I know people get a little upset at times when I'm on the umpires, but that's a perfect example right there. John Ryan Murphy should be at first base. Goldie should be at second base. 2 on, nobody out. But Lance Barrett missed that 3-1 pitch, ran the count to full. John Ryan Murphy now has to be ready to protect, and it's a lazy fly ball to shallow right field.
It's the domino effect.
Yeah.
3 infielders on the first base side for Lamb. Longoria all by himself near the bag at third. Jake flying out his first time up. He is 3 for 11 versus left-hand pitchers this year.
Just looking at this draft list, partner, the Giants in the 2nd round took a right-handed pitcher out of Kentucky named Sean. The last name is H-J-E-L-L-E. 6'11", 225 pounds. Get him in the weight room quick
before he blows away. 1-1. Late time granted by Lance Barrett. That sounds like a Dutch or Belgian name.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to even pronounce that.
D-backs will make their final pick today at 63rd overall in the 2nd round. Right now the Rangers have the pick at 55, so we got a little ways to go yet. Fastball missed away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Derek Holland, another proud Ohioan. Ohioan from I believe it's Newark, right? Newark.
Technically Newark, but people in the vicinity just call it Newark.
Is that
N-E-R-K?
Near Coshocton?
Yeah, that's about 37 miles.
So he also had a violent childhood.
Pretty good chance.
2-2.
Newark was where they sent people that they kicked out of Coshocton.
Oh, wow. Chris Owings singled his first time up. 2-2. Dutch oven.
another full count.
Boy, that's 4 consecutive full counts for Derek Holland. 5 of the last 7 D-backs hitters have gone to a 3-2 count. That fastball was in a pretty good spot. Lance Barrett didn't give him the high strike that time. So it's first and second, 1 out for Chris Owings. First walk issued by Holland tonight. Boy, Holland threw that right where he wanted it too. Didn't get the call. Goldie at second and Lamb at first. 1 out here in the 4th. That first pitch breaking ball. Derek Holland mentioned he struck out the first 4 batters tonight. He needed 29 pitches to get through the first 2 innings. He's needed 40 to get the last 4 outs. 70 pitches in the ball game, 40 for strikes. Foul in front of Tony Perez-Chica at third, and Owings is down 0-2.
You look at his game logs. Derek Holland has only pitched into the 7th inning 1 time all year. Pitch high in a single ball game was 112 against the Rockies 3 starts ago.
Holland coming off a 7-14 season last year, his only season with the White Sox after 8 years with the Texas Rangers. Slider is low. CO lays off, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Mentioned Giants without Johnny Cueto and Jeff Samardzija right now. Cueto's been out since the end of April with right elbow inflammation. He can come off the DL at the end of June. Samardzija has an aggravated pectoral injury, much the same as Steven Souza Jr. And Samardzija supposed to begin playing catch today. He may throw again by the end of next week. Couldn't lay off the breaking pitch that time, and Holland gets his 5th strikeout.
Now we mentioned that Holland kind of lost the handle on that slider, wasn't throwing it in or around the strike zone for a couple of innings, but made a good pitch right there to Chris Owings to get strike 3.
A chance for Ketel Marte, who flied out his first time up. 2 on and 2 out. Another cross up right there. Buster Posey, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's kind of tough to figure right here. I mean, you're 11 starts, 12 starts into the season and still crossing up your catcher. That just can't happen.
I'm amazed he was able to catch that. That's a big catch right there, with runners at first and second. I think he's afraid to put down some fingers now. He's thinking hard about it. If I put this down, what's he going to think it is?
If I call that pitch and he crosses me up, I might still be able to catch it.
Shot foul. Oh, look at that quick. He struck out the first inning on 12 pitches. Struck out the side. And he has really labored ever since, Derek Holland. It's almost a shame that Ketel Marte kind of toned down his shoe game tonight, because this would be quite a matchup with the kicks that Holland has got out there.
I think he wore those neon orange shoes out there on the mound intentionally. That's very conservative compared to what Derek Holland has on tonight.
Wow. And compared to what we often see from Cattell. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That fastball sailed on him. It's 2-2. Gerard Dyson would be next. Somehow just able to get a piece of that one to stay alive. Got a piece of Buster Posey as well.
Got him on the inside of the right leg there. Missed the shin guard completely.
Well, he's going to get combat pay after this start.
That's why I would get Buster Posey out from behind home plate. I mean, he's been a really good catcher. It's not like the Mike Piazza situation where you had an offensive player who couldn't catch or throw a lick. Buster Posey's a great catcher. I just think he's a much better offensive player. I'd rather have him somewhere where you're going to have him on the field 155 times a year.
Well, the only roadblock to that is the money that they invested in Brandon Belt long term. He's got a long term deal, and that's one of the main reasons why Buster's still back there. Holland has now thrown 50 pitches in the last 2 innings alone. 2-2 to Cattell Marte. 2 on and 2 out here in the 4th. He's just spraying it all over the place now. It's full 3-2. His 4th 3-2 count of this inning, Derek Holland. Sandoval playing behind Lamb at first. The runners will be off with a pitch. Here they go. Marte hits it hard to Pence in left. Back it up, and it's off the wall. Goldie is home. Lamb right behind. Here's the throw, and it's offline. Cattell Marte is at it again. It's 2-0 D-backs.
Boy, did he hit the living daylights out of that ball. A line drive out near the 382 mark. Hits about halfway up the wall. Just a rocket line drive.
107 off the bat.
Wow.
Sailed over the head of Pence. Another extra base hit for Cattell Marte. That's 7 consecutive extra base hits. 2 triples, 3 doubles, and 2 home runs. Gerard Dyson.
Might be one of the hardest hit balls we've seen all year.
First pitch swinging, pops it up shallow center. Hernandez coming in. D-backs strike first. Once again, it's Cattell Marte. They lead the Giants 2-0.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Derek Ladnier with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Sitting here with Mike Hazen, our GM, and Amiel Sade, our Vice President. I just want to say congratulations to you, young man. Very, very proud to have you here with the Diamondbacks.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we really enjoyed watching you play this year. We got a chance to see you a lot, as you were probably well aware of, and couldn't be more excited to select you with our first pick.
Thank you. I'm glad to get the opportunity.
Well, that was just a few moments ago at Chase Field. The D-backs talking to their first-round draft pick this year. Matt McLean, a high school infielder from Beckman High School. 5'10", 175, and he is a super athletic prospect. A lot of people like him, right-hand hitter. He can hit for average, he can hit for power, he can really run. Very good defensively. So he could be perhaps a second baseman, shortstop at the big league level. There's a lot of comparisons for Matt McLean to Alex Bregman of the Astros, that type of player. Andrew McCutchen leads off the Giant fourth against Zach Godley, who now has a 2-0 lead. Godley has retired the last 7 Giants he's faced.
Boy, congratulations to all the scouts out there. This is the culmination of what has been a year of watching an awful lot of baseball.
McCutchen gets into one. Andrew McCutchen, that's number 5, and the Giants are on the board. The power starting to come back for McCutchen, who homered here yesterday. 106 miles an hour off the bat, a line drive that just snuck over the wall and left.
Now, the one last night was sliced right down the right field line, just curled around the foul pole out there in right. This one was a rocket line drive, hits a straightaway left field, hits beyond the fence, and then ricochets back onto the field of play.
Brandon Crawford now. Crawford in the cleanup spot tonight. That's just the second hit for the Giants. He lifts this deep to left center field. Dyson at the track, at the wall, and that one's gone. Number 7 for Crawford, and quickly we're tied at 2.
You mentioned Crawford's been hot lately. That's not a bad pitch. Knee-high outer third of the plate, but he goes down and gets it, gets some lift on it to that gap in left center field, and Gerard Dyson just ran out of room. That's one thing about AT&T. The fans, that fence, as they're walking by the aisleway behind the fence, it hits them just about waist high. You can reach out over the field of play and affect those kind of plays right there.
Yeah, Crawford is just killing the ball right now. Here's Longoria, who struck out to end the first. Well, Zach Godley staked to a 2-0 lead. And just in a blink of an eye, it's 2-2. Third time this year the Giants have hit back-to-back homers. There's the strike.
Not a strike, but that's a really good pitch. That cutter that looks like it's going to hit that outside corner of the plate, and just enough subtle movement to take it off the outside corner. Obviously, you hope to get Longoria to chase that pitch.
Lance Barrett has called that a strike before tonight. Borderline pitch. And a high tapper in front of Ahmed for Lamb. They're able to get Longoria first out in the home half of the fourth.
There's the Panda. Sandoval at first base tonight, there without Brandon Belt, who just had an appendectomy over the weekend. He'll be out about 3 weeks. You mentioned that we're getting to the point where some of the starting pitchers for the D-backs might be looking over their shoulders because you've got some healthy guys that are close to coming back. And one of those is Shelby Miller, who made his second rehab start today with AA Jackson. Shelby allowed 1 run, 4 hits, and 4 2/3. Sandoval dunks that into center field, a 1-out single. Shelby Miller today for Jackson. 4 2/3 innings, 1 run, 4 hits. He walked 4, had 6 strikeouts. Shelby threw 79 pitches, 52 for strikes.
Well, and certainly you pay some attention to the numbers, but more importantly is how does Shelby feel? How did he get through it? Was he able to use all his pitches? Did he have any issues? And hopefully he'll check all those boxes and be able to take the ball for another rehab start in 5 days.
Here's Mike Butcher. There was also more encouraging news on Robbie Ray. Torrey told us that Robbie threw a 35-pitch bullpen session today. Everything feels good. He'll have another one this week. And Randall Delgado, who's coming off a series of injuries, is going to throw Wednesday for Visalia. So the pitching continues to get more and more healthy, and that's something that guys like Zach Godley, maybe Matt Cook, are going to have to start looking at, because pretty soon you're going to have 6-7 guys for 5 spots.
And that's just the nature of the game. I mean, these guys are all adults. They all look around the clubhouse and they know when guys are returning from the disabled list and when guys are due to play and when they're not going to play. And you have to take advantage of your opportunities. Zach Godley took advantage of his opportunity last year when he was plugged into the rotation. He was up and down, up and down. Eventually he earned a spot in the starting rotation. And this year the names are changed, the roles are changed, but you still want to start your best 5 guys you can in that rotation. And that may change over the course of the season.
Everything is constantly evolving. Not just for Torrey Lovello, but all 30 major league clubs. That's the nature of the beast, especially in a competitive division like the NL West. It's the thing about the division this year. Last year the Dodgers kind of ran away and hid from everyone. This season the division seems like everybody might feed off one another and make things even more competitive. Bullpen will start to get busy for the Giants here. The Holland spot coming up. 1 and 2 on Pence. Reyes Moran to the right-hander will start warming up for San Francisco. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one was right there. Zach had his strikeout, and now it's full 3 and 2. 70 pitches,
John
44
Ryan,
strikes.
I'm sorry, partner. John Ryan Murphy's usually very good about holding those borderline pitches, but he had to kind of chase that fastball down below the strike zone. Looked like it might have caught the bottom of the zone, but John didn't catch that one quite right.
3 and 2. Pence able to lay off. McCutchen and Crawford open up the inning with back-to-back homers. Sandoval a 1-out single. Now Pence draws a base on balls. Here's Gorkys Hernandez. The pitcher spot is behind him, and there's action in the Giant bullpen.
Nice job again by John Ryan Murphy. No surprises when you're catching Zach Godley. You know he's going to throw a lot of those spiked knuckle curves, and a lot of them are going to end up in the dirt. It's going to be a busy night. Just played the spin on that ball perfectly.
I really like the way he kind of just angled his shoulder to get that ball. 2 on and 1 out, 2 runs already in. Zach falling off the mound again. 2-0 to Gorkys Hernandez. Been a long 4th inning for both pitchers. 54 pitches in this 4th inning alone. D-backs with 2 in the top half. Giants have answered with 2 here in the bottom half. That fastball's in there. Hernandez has been a very effective bat for the Giants lately. Last 15 games, all starts, he's hit .345. Holland is in the on-deck circle behind him. Three balls and a strike. Aranta continues to warm up in the Giant bullpen. The bases are loaded, and Derek Holland is headed back to the Giant dugout. And this is Alan Hansen, the switch hitter, who will bat for the pitcher. Godley in this inning has given up back-to-back homers. Now he's issued back-to-back walks. And the bases are full with 1 out. Alan Hansen hitting .306. He's got 4 homers. Sandoval's at third, Pence at second, and Gorkys Hernandez at first. Hansen is a switch hitter. He's nearly .320 this year from the left-hand side. In there for a strike, and Godley's ahead 0-2.
Really love a double play ball right here with Joe Panik in the on-deck circle. Guy's been swinging one of the hottest bats for the Giants. You do not want him up to the plate with runners in scoring position.
It foul, still 0-2. Alan Hansen opened up this year with the Giants AAA club in Sacramento, where he hit over .400. He was out for a while with a left hamstring strain. Just came back from a rehab assignment in San Jose this weekend. He'd previously been with the Pirates and the White Sox. Godley at 80 pitches. Bullpen still quiet for the D-backs. Zach has walked 2, struck out 3. He's given up 2 home runs. Just foul. Well, quickly it's turned into a 30-pitch inning for Zach Godley. His spot in the lineup is due to lead off the 5th. Shoots that fair by Lamb at third. Sandoval is home. Pence right behind. Hernandez stops at third. And the Giants take a 4-2 lead.
Fastball might have even been off the plate away, but Hansen just reaches out there, slaps it with a lot of wrist right down that third baseline. Those pesky hitters, those guys that just try to get the bat on the ball and put it in play somewhere. They'll drive in as many runs sometimes as a guy that hits it out of the ballpark.
Top of the order, Panic. Panic is grounded out, flied out. He's 0 for 2. Fernando Salas running out to the D-back bullpen. Panic is the 8th man to bat here in the Giant 4th. Infield is in for the D-backs with 1 out. Strike at the knees. There's Fernando Salas, bullpen coach Mike Fetters.
Like Joe Panic was indicating to Bruce Bochy that he got hit by that pitch. Giants are going to take a quick look. Well, if I'm Joe Panic right now, I think I probably want to swing the bat as hot as he's been.
Well, we talked about what a good 2-strike hitter he is. The umpires are going to put the headsets on.
Yeah, just a glancing shot off that right leg. He didn't make much of an effort to get the lower body out of the way, but that ball bounced in the dirt. Looked like it just grazed off his right leg.
So they'll challenge this call.
And while we have a moment here, the umpire's taking a look. Congratulations to 3 Valley High School products that got drafted in day 1 of the draft. The 16th pick in the first round was a left-handed pitcher out of Mountain Ridge High School. Went to the Tampa Bay Rays, Matthew Liberatore. The 19th pick in the round 1 was Nolan Gorman, a third baseman out of Sandra Day O'Connor. Got drafted by the Cardinals. And the 62nd pick in the second round, Brennan Davis, an outfielder out of Basha High School drafted by the Cubs. Congratulations to all.
Here comes Torey Lovullo. Buster Posey will be the hitter with the bases full and 1 out. 4 runs already in for San Francisco. And we'll see Fernando Salas back from AT&T Park after this. Buster Posey up there with the bases full. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. These D-backs are next. Drafted today, Matt McLean, an infielder from a high school in California. Outfielder Jake McCarthy from UVA. And the last pick today for the D-backs, Alec Thomas, an outfielder from a high school in Mount Carmel, Illinois. The son of the White Sox strength and conditioning coordinator. Considered a very good prospect. So Salas inherits a big mess. Bases full for Posey, 1 out. And 4 runs already in. Posey has singled and struck out tonight. The 9th man to bat in the Giant 4th. Mentioned some of the D-backs pitchers starting to get healthier. Randall Delgado will throw for the Visalia Rawhide Wednesday. This is a spot in which Torrey has really had to lean heavily on Fernando Salas. This is where they really miss Randall Delgado, Bob, and have missed him all year. Salas has had to do a ton of work in spots like this. They've asked a lot of this right-hander. He's ahead of Posey 0-2. Wind is absolutely gusting out to right field right now. To the backstop. Here comes Hernandez, and it's 5-2. Wild pitch charged to Fernando Salas.
John Murphy slides out on an outside corner. That looked like it might have hit a toe hold in that left-handed batter's box. It really shot up and over the shoulder of John Ryan Murphy that time.
2-2 on Posey. The inning has come apart for Torrey Lovullo's ball club here in the home half of the 4th. 5 runs are in. Posey now with a 6-game hit streak. He is batting better than .330 since May the 1st. He's been hot. There's the infield. Hansen now at third, Panic at second. This is in and it's full. Andrew McCutchen, who started this inning with a home run, is on deck. McCutchen and Crawford back-to-back homers. Hansen a 2-run pinch hit double. And a wild pitch that made it 5-2. That one almost hit Hansen running down the third base line.
A lot of history between these two. Buster Posey's only faced Fernando Salas 3 times. He's yet to get a hit against him.
This one is headed for Triples Alley. Long run for Owings, and he won't get there. Hansen is home. Here comes Panic. 2-run double for Posey in a 7-2 Giants lead. They have batted around and scored 7 runs in the 4th.
Oh, belt high, middle of the plate. Fortunate that ball didn't get hit out of the ballpark. As it is, he drives it out to the warning track near that 421 mark. CO, as fast as he is, just couldn't catch up to it.
McCutchen. He homered earlier in this inning, his 5th of the year. The highest scoring inning this season for the Giants. McCutchen got it started. The next batter, Crawford, also homer to tie the game at 2. And the Giants have since tacked on 5 more. Still only 1 out. All 7 runs charged to Zach Godley. Zach, 7 runs on 5 hits and 3 1/3 tonight. Looks at a fastball. 2 down. There is Crawford, who homered to left center field earlier in this inning, his 7th of the year. And they're going to put him on first, and they'll work to the right-hand hitting Evan Longoria.
This is definitely the percentage move right here. Longoria has not looked good in his first 2 at-bats in a game. Brandon Crawford has already homered in this inning. Take your chances, righty on righty right here.
0 for 2. First base side for Goldie. Giants send 12 to the plate in the 4th. 7 score. D-backs down 5. If you've messed up and forgot about Dad, don't worry, we got you covered.
Got you covered.
Father's Day at Chase Field next Sunday, June 17th. Get Dad tickets to see the D-backs and the New York Mets. So 1 o'clock matchup. First 15,000 dads get to take home this D-backs Hawaiian shirt courtesy of Tyson Foods. Get your tickets at dbacks.com/dad. Reyes Moranta, hard throwing right-hander, is on for the Giants to start the 5th inning. Alex Avila will hit for the pitcher Fernando Salas. Alex in there at 129. He's got 2 homers. Moranta has pitched very well lately. Only 1 run given up in his last 10 1/3 innings. He's got 15 strikeouts over that span.
That's easy gas at 98. Moranta doesn't look like he's putting a lot of effort behind the pitches, but the ball just explodes out of his hand.
It was a long 4th inning for both sides. 18 batters went to the plate. In the top and bottom of the 4th inning, D-backs scored 2. The Giants have answered with 7. Shift is on against Avila. 2 balls and 1 strike. And a fan asked me the other day, how come you guys don't pronounce it Alex Avila, which is technically the correct pronunciation, but Alex prefers Avila. And he does not, you'll note, have the accent over the last name on his jersey. He prefers it Avila, so that's what we go with.
Yeah, we go with what the player wants. I think back to right-handed pitcher for a long time in the major leagues, Julian Taveras.
Oh yeah, sure.
He preferred to be called Julian.
Called strike 3.
And Nick Ahmed making his way to the plate, hit a big 2 RBI double back in that 4th inning. Gonna take a look at the pitch by pitch here, brought to you by Nationwide Vision. Eye on the game. Big rip at a high fastball first pitch. A couple of sliders in the dirt right here, and then Holland throws another high fastball, and Nick is all over it this time. A line drive into that gap in left center.
His 10th double this year. He was left stranded there. Jumps on the first pitch and hits it deep to right center. It's up in that wind. Hernandez has it just shy of the track. 2 outs.
Yeah, struck well, just the wrong part of the ballpark.
David Peralta 0 for 2. David has homered in 3 straight games. He's got 10 on the year. This is David Peralta's first start this season, batting 2nd in the lineup. Torrey tweaking the batting order tonight, trying to get right left. But hitting 2nd, nothing new for David. Made just over 60 starts in the 2-hole last year. Hit better than .320 from this spot last season.
And he told Kate the other day that he doesn't change his approach regardless of what spot he's in the lineup. Just look for a good pitch, try to put a good swing on the strikes, and take the bad ones. Pretty good approach no matter where you're hitting in the lineup.
Really done a good job lately hitting the ball in the left center field. Do that when they pitch you right in there with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He fouled one off his knee earlier, and I think he just did it again.
Yeah, one off his knee, a glancing shot off his right leg, and he got hit again. Well, that's why they put ice machines in hotels.
Is that noise I always hear in the hallway?
I'm not sure how the guys are nowadays, but I know back. Oh man, that is a solid shot off that protective guard.
Yeah, coming in at 97.
Well, back in the day, everybody on our team carried ace bandages in their luggage. And you'd go back to the room at night and take the towel down to the ice machine and fill it up with ice, fold it over, slap it on your knee or your elbow or whatever's hurting, and wrap it up with an ace bandage.
He hit that one in the water on the fly, but foul. Boy, just missed a home run in 4 consecutive games. Only 4 D-backs have ever done that. Trumbo, Reynolds, Lawson, Sanders. 1-2. Almirante comes on. Talk about a shutdown inning. It's 7-2 Giants.
Sinker in the middle of the plate. Feeble swing at a breaking ball away. Chases a breaking ball down. Comes up his next AB. He takes the fastball in the middle of the plate, but then lays off the curveballs that are out of the zone. Gets himself in a hitter's count and punishes that fastball to left field. Line drive homer for Andrew McCutchen.
That's our nationwide vision eye on the game, and exactly what Torey Lovello had told us the problem had been for Zach Godley. Other teams just waiting him out and not chasing that curveball either away or down. Here's Jake Barrett. Sandoval leads off the Giant fifth. There's his strike one. And Panda has grounded out, singled, scored a run. Saw Jake Barrett pitch 1 inning in the game yesterday against the Marlins at Chase Field. He worked the 9th inning through 25 pitches. Ahead of the Panda 1-2. D-backs have been out hit 6-4. They trail it 7-2. San Francisco with a 7-run fourth after the D-backs had taken a 2-0 lead. Sandoval, Pence, and Hernandez 6, 7, and 8 in the Giant fifth. deep right field. It's another Giant home run. That's the third for Sandoval, and it's 8-2. He got it up into that wind and got just enough of it.
Yeah, to quote Major League, I thought it was too high.
What do you mean too high?
Fastball up and in. I thought he got under it and popped it up to right field, but that ball just kept carrying and carrying and carrying. Eventually, Chris Owings had to quit on it and landed up there on what they call Levi's Landing here at the ballpark.
Almost straight down into the seats. Hunter Pence. Sandoval's third of the year, all 3 home runs coming to the left-hand batter. Pence has popped up, walked, and scored tonight. Right-hander Pierce Johnson starts to get loose in the Giant bullpen. Gorkys Hernandez is the on-deck hitter, pitcher spot behind him. Spins Pence around, and Barrett's behind 3-1. Giants in a span of 13 batters have scored 8 runs. That one goes through Marte and into center, and Pence is aboard. A base hit for Hunter Pence. Gorkys Hernandez, the center fielder. That was 110 miles an hour off the bat of Hunter Pence.
And the way it handcuffed Ketel Marte out there on the edge of the grass and the dirt behind second base, he couldn't handle it. He knew it was hit hard.
Hernandez fouls that one back. Austin Jackson is in the on-deck circle, set to hit for the pitcher Moranta, with Pierce Johnson warming up in the Giant bullpen. Good hard slider from Barrett.
If you're going to come out of your shoes swinging at a fastball in the first pitch the way Hernandez did, you can pretty much bet you're going to see a breaking ball in the next delivery.
There's Sandoval. His homer has made it 8-2 here in the 5th. Went back to that breaking ball and gets the strikeout. Austin Jackson, 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter this year, .250 on the year. Jackson not giving the Giants a ton of production offensively. No home runs. Only 6 extra base hits and 120 at bats this season. Barrett keeping that slider down. It's 1-1. Pham at third. Marte for one, and they turn it. The Giants add one more on the Sandoval homer. D-backs trail at 8-2.
Bob, we're updating the pitchers that are on the mend. There were some tests that Torey Lovello updated us on with two of the hitters, A.J. Pollock and Steven Souza Jr. And CT scan for Pollock showed he's healing. He's still in the soft cast, still not cleared for any hitting or anything like that. Another test in a week. And then Steven Souza Jr., he says he feels well, feels fine, but the MRI is showing still a little bit of inflammation and swelling in that right pectoral strain. And so based on that, they're going to be careful and not try to go backwards. He won't do any throwing, guys, and he'll just kind of wait that out. They'll continue to do the scans and see if that inflammation and swelling gets out of the area.
Jody, and there was some news regarding that Steven Souza Jr. trade. Anthony Bonda, the outstanding young left-hander the Diamondbacks sent to Tampa Bay as part of that deal, is going to need Tommy John surgery. So Bonda's going to be out for a year plus, so we wish him all the best, of course. Here's Pierce Johnson, the right-hander, on to start the 6th inning. It's been a week since he last pitched. In fact, he's worked only twice in the last 17 days. So he is rested and ready to go here. Goldie leads off the 6th. Good news about that Steven Souza Jr. MRI is that from what we understand he has been cleared to hit, so he is making some progress. Full count on Goldie, 3-2. Fastball misses up and in.
Second time in the game, Goldie's led off an inning, getting on base. See if they can get something going here offensively.
Well, John Ryan Murphy could be the guy. 0 for 2. Batting cleanup tonight. 0-2. There's where the Giants line up defensively against John Ryan. Joe Panic, the second baseman, almost right behind the bag.
A lot of baseball left. We're only in the top half of the 6th inning. Diamondbacks have a chance to bust through against this Giants bullpen.
Tap to second. Panic. Crawford. They can't turn the double play. Murphy safe at first. Tony Randazzo, the umpire down there.
I mention it every time. It's really tough to turn that double play on a slowly hit ball to the right side. Just too many things have to happen right to turn that double play. And John Ryan Murphy, I hate to even say this, he runs well for a catcher.
I know that had to hurt.
It did.
Here's Jake Lamb. Jake walked and scored his last time up. Of course, the Golden State Warriors are off tonight. Game 3 of their NBA Finals, I believe, is going to be a week from Friday. So we have our man Bo here with us. He had nothing else to do, so he just came by the ballpark. He's got a tidbit I think you might find upsetting. 1-1 on land. That was the 3rd time this year the D-backs have given up 5 or more runs in 1 inning. And all 3 times it happened in the 4th. So you may want to file that away maybe for a key to the game down the road. Change your 4th inning mojo. Nice work, Bo.
Just jumped 3 to 5. Skip the 4th inning.
Call the league off to see if he can work that out. 95 from Johnson just missed away, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, they're too busy looking at guys' shoes.
Shift is on for Lamb. You know, Boa showed up here today missing a tooth.
Yeah, I heard. Mouthed off to the wrong guy.
It's a tough town. It's like Coshocton. That is just foul by Sandoval at first.
You know, I'm beginning to question whether Bo even has a home. I mean, he just goes from ballpark to arena to ballpark. I don't know if he's got a place to live.
We've seen him here. We've seen him at Oakland, of course. He's been at Chase Field, where he didn't stop by and say hi. He's been at Golden State Warrior games. He and Shar just travel all over the Bay Area working these events. 2-2. Breaking ball away, missed it. It's full. Owens on deck. Yeah, the high-profile life of a big-time statistician and staff. You can see why Pierce Johnson hasn't worked a whole lot. He's given up 15 earned runs in his last 11 innings of work. And a fight here with Jake Lamb, full count 3-2. Another one fouled away.
I'm not sure of the exact circumstances surrounding Pierce Johnson's release from the Cubs. It happened before the end of the season. It was in the middle of September when rosters are expanded. I'm not quite sure the reason for that. Initially, I thought, well, they had somebody that they wanted to put on the 40-man and somebody had to come off. But it happened in September. He was cut loose. The Giants claimed him.
Yeah, it's not like they didn't have room.
He was a high draft pick by the Cubs. 43rd overall pick in the 2012 draft.
It is an inexact science.
Yes, indeed.
This is out to center field. Hernandez. Oh my goodness, he almost broke in a little too far. That one would have got to the 399 mark all the way back to the wall in center.
That looked a little bit like the one Chris Owings had at Chase Field. Line drive hit to center field. CO came in a couple steps and froze in his tracks and had to jump as high as he could. Very similar to the play that Gorkys Hernandez just made.
And we saw Lewis Brinson, the Marlins rookie, missed 2 of those yesterday at Chase Field. But Hernandez figured it out just at the last moment. He's a good defensive outfielder. You don't often see that from him. CO was singled and struck out 1 for 2. Chris Owings, a former D-backs first-round draft pick. Drafted out of high school in Gilbert, South Carolina back in '09. Now, when you were not drafted, I shudder to bring this up, but how long did you wait before you made your now famous phone call to see if you had been picked and they told you were free to negotiate with any team you wanted?
I think it was the first day after the draft, because like I said, back then we had no internet. There was no way to know who got drafted when, and I went to our college coach and asked him, what should I do? And he said, well, call MLB, just ask them. So
What do you want from me? I don't know. Call him.
yeah, and it took a while to just find the phone number of Major League Baseball, because once again you just couldn't Google it.
You crank the handle on that thing, go, give me Klondike 629.
Hey, Marge. Yeah, but you know, the rest is history. I called the MLB office, told them my name, where I went to school, and she said, I'll be right back. After about 30 seconds, she came back on the phone and said, Mr. Brenly, you're free to negotiate with any team you'd like.
It's so funny. Now we know who it is, and we know the kid's life story the instant that his name is announced.
The instant that it happened.
You're trying to get somebody on the phone. Send a carrier pigeon out to Coshocton to let Brenly know he's available. 2-2. Johnson gets the strikeout. Bottom 6 from San Francisco. D-backs trail at 8-2.
expressing appreciation for all military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Jake Barrett back out there to start the bottom of the 6th inning. Joe Panic, the leadoff man, leads it off for the Giants. San Francisco with a 7-run 4th. They added one more in the 5th. They lead it 8-2.
Your partner, I say it all the time, first game of a series, you hope to see as many pitchers out of that bullpen as you possibly can and then use that to your advantage in the next couple of games. Well, both teams have accomplished that here tonight.
That one's foul. Each team has used 3. Ouch. Way to go, San Jose State. Way to represent.
Spartans representing.
Oh, D-back. See, that's some D-back want right there. You can't coach that. It's either there or it's not.
That's right.
That's a D-back fan. He didn't quite make the play, and man, he is wearing it right now. That hurt. Well, watch the intestinal fortitude that this takes from the D-back fan on the left.
Oh, so close.
Ripped off by the San Jose State dude. Bro, your belly's showing. And the D-back fan.
Not happy.
That's just bringing the want right there. Some serious rig.
Yeah, there's no sabermetrics for that. No analytics.
But he's a gamer. Look, right, focused, position. He's not, you just put it behind him.
I think he may be auditioning for one of our Golden Glovers at Chase Field.
He may have about 40 or 50 years to go for that gig, but I like where you're going.
I mean, that's become a high-profile gig at Chase Field.
Big time. I mean, they have 50, 60 guys come out and audition. I'm not joking around now. Here's the want right there. Man. In the meantime, Mr. San Jose just goes back to eating his pretzel. Murphy able to hang on to the foul tip, and Barrett gets his second strikeout. Here's Buster Posey. He has singled. He's got a 2-run double. Posey is hitting over 360 at AT&T Park this year. T.J. McFarland starts to get loose in the D-back bullpen. Troy Lovello going to look for some length from T.J. Long run for Ketel Marte. Owings calls him off. And CO drops to a knee to collect that one. Here's T.J. Andrew McCutchen has struck out twice and homered.
How about this, partner? The two teams combined in the 4th and 5th inning threw a total of 120 pitches in 2 innings. Whew.
Ouch. Well, McCutchen homered here yesterday off Jake Arrieta. Homered again tonight off Zach Godley. Now with 5 on the year. Another one for CO and right. Barrett works a 1-2-3-6. D-backs trail the Giants 8-2.
games on TV. You can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the free app. Take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. We go to the 7th inning. Ketel Marte, who has knocked in both D-backs runs tonight, a 2-run double in the 4th, leads off the 7th. Here's Johnson back out there for the Giants. Not quite sure I buy Pierce Johnson's Twitter handle, which is FlowGrow33. This is sky deep to left center field. Whoa, Hunter Pence. Now let's go back to our D-back fan. Uh-oh, I think we've been duped. Oh, this is a disgrace. Oh. This is an outrage. This is, oh, the humanity. I will not stand for this, Bob Brenly.
That's one way to get a ball from the guys in the bullpen. Put on your D-back shirt and hat.
He's sitting right behind our bullpen. Wow. That guy's a fraud.
Well, we know where his loyalties lie.
He probably went to San Jose State too.
Oh my.
Our undercover reporter team, Fox Sports Arizona scam artists. That's discouraging.
That's like the fans at Wrigley that throw batting practice balls back on the field after a home run.
Dishonest.
Fraud.
It is. Pitcher spot is up next. Christopher Negron is in the on-deck circle, just called up today from AAA Reno. Dyson so far 0 for 2. Well, that's just, you just lose your faith in mankind when you see that kind of stuff. Socrates Brito sent to Reno. D-backs were looking for another right-hand bat to finish out this road trip. So Negron, who was red hot for the Aces, is up for the first time this year.
Yeah, 2 lefty starters in this series. We see at least 1 lefty in Colorado, and both teams have a bunch of lefties available out of the bullpen. So Torrey wanted another right-handed bat available for this road trip.
And he always thinks about off days going to Denver, where you're playing at that altitude. So we'd really like to get both Dyson and Peralta a down day or 2 on this road trip. So that's why Negron is here. That one caught the corner. Johnson has his second strikeout. So our first look at Chris Negron. 55 games at Reno, hitting .260 with 3 homers there. But he hit his way back onto this big league roster. Pitch swinging, backs up McCutchen in right field. We stretch in San Francisco. D-backs trail the Giants 8-2.
MLB at Bat, your #1 D-backs app. You can customize your experience, catch every moment this year. Get D-backs home screen icons, features like MLB.TV, game of the day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, the whole thing. Download MLB at Bat today. TJ McFarland on to work the bottom of the 7th. Brandon Crawford, who homered in the 4th, leads it off for the Giants. Crawford punches one the other way, and that lands fair down the left field line. And Crawford aboard for the 4th time tonight. He's been hit by a pitch. He's homered. He got an intentional walk, and now his 13th double of the year. Evan Longoria 0 for 3. I got a question for you.
Okay.
Does that scam artist dude, bro, sitting behind our bullpen, does he have like 29 jerseys and hats from all the other teams, and he just does, that's like his thing?
I would venture to guess that that's his thing.
I mean,
that's what he does.
That's a pretty heavy investment, you know, to get a couple of extra beat up baseballs. There he is. Oh, look. Oh, now he's got the big D-backs fan. You're not fooling anyone. Have a seat.
Is he changing every half inning as the teams take their position defensively? Maybe that's it.
Like we're not going to notice?
He's busted.
He's running a scam. High fly ball left field. Peralta has got it on the warning track. I mean, I give him credit for creativity, but it's just a. Nah, I don't like it. Doesn't,
very,
you know,
devious.
Doesn't sit well.
Yeah.
He's ready to pounce.
He probably had a Phillies jersey on yesterday.
I think I see it underneath there. Sandoval has singled and homered. He'll bat right-handed now against the left-hander TJ McFarland. Jake Arrieta was complaining about that guy too, in addition to the Phillies defensive shifts. What do you think about that? Jake Arrieta called his own team's defensive shifts a disgrace, the worst in the league,
and singled out a couple of his teammates.
That got a little ugly. He pitched here yesterday and lost.
I mean, you can understand his frustration, but it's probably not the right way to go about correcting the situation.
Corey Guerin, the deliberate right-hander, warming up in the Giant bullpen.
He's not going to pitch until tomorrow night, but it takes him a while to throw his warm-up pitches.
Sandoval knocks that into center. This will get Crawford home with the Giants' 9th run. Big night for the Panda. He's got 3 hits and a couple of RBIs.
For me, Panda is a little bit like Starlin Castro that we just saw from the Miami Marlins. You throw him anything close to the strike zone, he's going to find a way to get the bat on it. You don't have to throw him a strike to get him out, but teams continue to throw the ball around the zone, and he continues to rake.
Hunter Pence has walked and singled and scored a run. Pence hanging on at the age of 35. It's looking more and more like this could be his farewell season in San Francisco. Final year of that contract, 5 years, $90 million. His 7th season as a Giant. Yes, he went, says Tony Randazzo, and Pence strikes out.
Jorge Hernandez, the center fielder. Pitcher spot behind him. Big Mac Williamson has come out in the on-deck circle. Williamson's the guy that, in a sense, lost a job to Hunter Pence. Williamson had a massive spring, but they wanted to give Pence an opportunity to get hot, so he got the opening day nod. Williamson started in Sacramento. Nick Ahmed, shovel pass, and they get the force on Sandoval. Giants add a run. D-backs trail it 9-2. Three-game series. Nick Ahmed leads off the 8th against right-hander Corey Guerin. Plan ahead to celebrate Independence Day with the D-backs. Fans enjoy the best fireworks show in town. The 4th of July celebration at Chase Field. Presented by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. Game time 7 o'clock against the Cardinals. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. That's always the best fireworks show in the Valley.
Absolutely. And I love that logo, the Stars and Stripes, Diamondbacks A. I think that is really cool.
Corey Guerin just came in from north of the wall. He will face Nick Ahmed to start the inning. I got some really, well, I don't know how you're going to take this, frankly. I was going to say bad news, but it really, what do we care either way? Yankees played a doubleheader today.
Yeah, against Detroit.
0-1 to Ahmed. Aaron Judge, you've heard of him.
Good hitter.
A lot of home runs and stuff. In the doubleheader today, Aaron Judge went 0 for 9 with 8 strikeouts.
Ouch.
Hang with him. That's here come the Judge. There goes the Judge.
Boy, that is long after,
isn't it?
It was, I assume it was one of those split doubleheaders where they played a day game and then took a few hours off and then played the night game. So he had plenty of time to sit around the clubhouse and think about that offer in game 1.
He's wearing it down there. Longoria spins and throws. Sandoval with a nice scoop at first, and they retire Ahmed. Evan Longoria, Gold Glover in Tampa Bay. This will really get you upset. Watch this. He's at it again. The quick switch. This is not like Superman in the phone booth. Look, he's checking to make sure that the cameras aren't following him. Now he's going to put his Giants jersey back on.
I really think he's just trying to get the warm-up ball between innings from the corner outfielder. You know, they play catch between innings, and generally when they're done warming up between innings, the outfielder will throw the ball up to a fan in the stands. I think that's a scam.
Because it makes no sense at all to intentionally change into a Giants jersey sitting behind a D-back bullpen. So I think you may have cracked the case. Started by our Fox Sports Arizona I-team with our hidden cameras.
We have an I-team?
Wait, I think he's running up the aisle. No, that's a different dude. And the guy next to him's got like a patch on his jacket or something. 1-2 on David Peralta. What is
SG?
SG?
Not sure what that stands for.
That whole group, there's something going on there. The San Jose State bros falling asleep.
He just has those shifty eyes too, like he's looking for a security guard to come down and grab him at any minute.
Come on, Aaron.
2-2.
That's probably the look I had on my face at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland several times.
Why is that?
We used to buy the cheapest tickets you could buy to get into the ballpark itself, and then, you know, a 75,000 seat stadium with 5,000 people in it, you could move around, sit wherever you wanted once you got inside.
You can wear whatever jersey you want.
Sure.
Doesn't matter. 3-2.
I was always looking over my shoulder for the security guard when I try to move down into those box seats and get as close to the dugout, as close to the players as you possibly could. But it just felt like there was always somebody about to grab you by the ear and pull you out of your seat.
Peralta draws a walk. Did they care? They got 70,000 empty seats.
Yeah, they acted like they did. I mean, they had a job to do too, but yeah, we were pretty quick back then. We could avoid them.
Goldie has singled and walked. He scored a run.
Oh, nice play by Buster Posey that time on a slider that wanted to go to the backstop. Buster's looking over there saying, how could you throw it that far outside?
At least he didn't get crossed up. Fastball in for a strike, 1-1.
We know from games in the past against the Giants that Dave McKay's got some triggers on Corey Guerin for when the base runners can break for second base, but trailing by 7 runs in the ball game, you don't really want to expose it right here. If you've got a trick play or if you've got something that you know will work whenever you want it to, sometimes it's wise to save it until you really need it.
And plus, down 7 runs, you're looking for base runners here. Can't afford to make it out on the bases. Goldie's always hit well in this ballpark. He's homered here 11 times. He's off that breaking ball. 2-2. Last time we were here, early April, John Ryan Murphy on time. Goldie in 3 games, doubled, tripled, and homered twice. That was the first road trip of the year.
That's when we thought Goldie had turned the corner after his, what was it, 3 for 30 to start the season.
Yeah.
It looked like he was really starting to come around, hitting the ball hard, getting some elevation, driving it into the gaps and out of the park. And then as quickly as it looked like it returned, it disappeared again.
Yeah, he homered a couple of times both here and in Dodger Stadium on that road trip. 2-2. Keeps going to that slider, full count. John Ryan on deck. D-backs have been out hit 10-4. They trail it 9-2. Stuck with that pitch and got the strikeout.
It's a really flat slider. He throws it from a low 3/4 arm angle. Doesn't have much downward movement at all. Kind of like a frisbee slider almost. Stays on the same plane as it works its way across that strike zone.
John Ryan Murphy 0 for 3. Base hit for Murphy, knocks it into right field.
I'd like to see Jake get one of those flat sliders on the inside part of the plate and whack it out into McCovey Cove.
Got 2 on and 2 out. He walked and scored in the 4th. Giants will put the shift on. Panic backs up into short right. Crawford on the first base side of second. Wind still blowing out to right center.
It's picked up considerably. It was blowing hard at the beginning of the ball game, and then it kind of died down for a couple of innings, but it looks like it's kicking up again as the Seagulls are ready to eat.
I noticed that last week. That was not an issue at Oakland.
No.
Did they not have garlic fries over there?
I think they do. Better food on this side of the bay.
Certainly a better ballpark. First time the D-backs have had a runner in scoring position since Ketel Marte's 2-run double in the 4th. D-backs led it 2-0. Giants added or answered with the 7 in the home half of the 4th inning. They've since tacked on 2 more. 2-1 to Jake Lamb. 2 on and 2 out. Guerin has worked it full 3 and 2 on 3 of the last 4 batters. Chris Owings hoping to get a chance. This will get the runners started. Peralta at second and Murphy at first. The 3-2 to Lamb. Left field, that sits down. David coming in makes it 9-3. RBI single for Jake Lamb. Well, you can't hit a 7-run homer, so just get them back one at a time.
Just keep getting guys on base. Let the next guy do something. Right off the end of the bat that time by Jake Lamb, but a good 2-strike approach. We talked about the 2-strike approach earlier in the ball game for Joe Panik. A lot of guys with the power of Jake Lamb would have been trying to hit the ball in McCovey Cove even with 2 strikes, but he saw a pitch away and just shot it out there into left field for an RBI knock.
Kurt Young, the pitching coach, out to talk to Corey Guerin. And the Giants bullpen will have to get busy now. Sam Dyson headed down there. Chris Owings has singled and struck out twice, 1 for 3. Fastball is low, but Guerin gets the call, and it's 0-2. We'd really like to see Ketel Marte get a chance with some runners aboard. Marte on deck. That's going to reach the seats. Marte has knocked in 2 runs, that 2-out 2-run double in the 4th that gave the D-backs the early lead.
You know, Torrey has that phrase he uses all the time about linking ABs to build innings, and this is a perfect example right here. If Chris Owings can find a way to get on and link his at bat with the ones in front of him, and then you get the hottest hitter on the team at the plate.
Punches that one foul behind Dave McCain.
You know, the flip side of that coin is Chris Owings makes the final out of this inning, and then your most dangerous hitter in the lineup right now is leading off with nobody on base in the 9th.
I'm too disgusted to even comment.
I'm starting to think conspiracy. He's actually got a guard down there who hasn't ejected him yet.
He's enterprising, we'll give him that.
Boy, Co's had a couple of sliders right in the middle of the strike zone the last 2 pitches.
And Buster Posey's noticed. He'll use another mound visit here. I think they only have 1 left. The other side of Owings getting aboard is we'd be only 1 batter away from a Dyson versus Dyson matchup. Still 0-2.
That was close. Just into foul territory.
Giants are tough at home. They're 17-10 at AT&T Park. They've won 5 straight here. Murphy at second, Lamb at first. 2 outs, a run is in. Bottom 8 on the way. D-backs trail it 9-3. Gila River game summary. D-backs had a 2-0 lead in the top of the 4th inning. Ketel Marte a 2-out 2-run double. But the Giants batted around in the home half. It started with McCutcheon and Crawford back-to-back home runs against Zach Godley. And San Francisco has not looked back. They lead at 9-3. Nick Hundley will hit for the pitcher Corey Guerin to start the San Francisco 8th. Hundley 258, 5 homer. Let's see if I can get our stat man Bo to track this down. We haven't been able to confirm this yet, but I think he may have gone to U of A.
Really?
Yeah, well, don't want to make that official. Bo is still pouring through his books over there. So we'll try and nail it down before the end of the game. Hundley blasts one down the line. And gone. Nick Hundley, that's his 6th, and it's 10-3. Fourth Giant home run tonight.
Let's take a look at the pitch by pitch there to Nick Hundley. First pitch slider misses off the plate away. Comes back with a sinker up and away, and then just bites off too much strike zone on the inside part of the plate. I'll tell you, Nick Hundley can hit a fastball.
Sure can. 4 Giant homers, all solo shots. Here's Joe Panik.
Run to the booth next door. When I saw Nick Hundley in the on-deck circle to lead off this inning, it made me wonder who is their emergency catcher should something happen to Buster Posey. Pablo Sandoval is the emergency catcher.
Bounced over the head of TJ. And Ketel Marte cut in front of Nick Ahmed at the last instant, and it gets into center field.
I'm not sure if Ketel cutting in front bothered Nick. I think it had to have. And for me, that's one of those ones that should be classified as a team error. It's hard to penalize one guy or the other. Either one of them could have had that ball, but neither one of them got it. And TJ McFarland shouldn't be penalized for that. So in my estimation, they need to come up with a team error.
They haven't put a scoring decision up on the board yet. Mr. Posey fouls that one away. They've decided to give Ketel Marte the error on that. That is E4.
Oh, man.
Let's Panik at first.
Marte had not made an error in 216 chances as a middle infielder coming into play tonight. Man, that's the second longest streak in Arizona history. That's a tough way to lose it.
Did he touch it?
Usually that really isn't a determining factor whether they call it an error or not. Official scorekeepers are told if a guy can make the play with a routine effort and does not make the play, then you call an error. Yeah, that's not good.
Well, he's trying to get out of the way, not field the ball.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I don't think either middle infielder should be penalized for that. Even though I'm not sure what Ketel was doing. I mean, if you got to get out of the way of the ground ball, go ahead and make the play on it. And Nick with very little time to react when he saw Marte at the very tail end of that play jump out of the way. He didn't have much time to react to the ball.
Here's another look.
I mean, it's a bouncer. Looked like it was headed into center field. Marte could make the play. Nick could make the play, but neither guy does.
How is that an error? Come on.
Well, occasionally when there's what a manager or player thinks is an egregious scorekeeping error, they'll call up to the official scorer after the ball game and say, here's what we are thinking down at field level on that play. And the scorekeeper will listen to the explanation and could possibly reverse that call.
I mean, It's 10-3 in the 8th inning. Who cares? But the point is that what you just mentioned earlier with Ketel's streak.
Yeah.
It's a shame to see it end on something as silly as that. Still 2-2 on Buster Posey.
And you might ask yourself at home, well, why didn't one of them call it? Well, that was another one of those that either guy could make the play on. It was probably an easier play for Nick coming across from the shortstop position because his momentum is carrying him toward the base.
Lamb at third, Marte for one, and they get the double play. Second double play turned by the D-backs infield tonight. Brad Boxberger has been warming up at the D-back bullpen. Andrew McCutchen will be the hitter. Torey Lovello out to the mound to get TJ McFarland. And Boxberger comes in to get some work back after this. D-backs trail at 10-3. Catch the D-backs and the Pirates or Mets at Chase Field next week with the D-backs Value Pack. That gets you a game ticket, a hot dog, and a Pepsi, all for only $25. Get your tickets at dbacks.com/value. And we'll see you back home at Chase Field next week as the Pirates and Mets come to town. Here is Brad Boxberger on to get the final out of the 8th inning. Andrew McCutchen, who homered in the 4th, will be the hitter. Opportunities for Brad Boxberger have been few and far between as of late. McCutchen homered yesterday against the Phillies, homered here tonight. Numbers 4 and 5 on the year. What do you think about that? Was before his home run yesterday, he'd not hit a homer since April 20th, 36 games and almost 160 plate appearances without a home run. Now he's homered in back-to-back games. 1-2. D-backs have 3 infielders on the third base side. And McCutchen strikes out on a fastball. 9th inning on the way. D-backs trail at 10-3. Ketel Marte leads off the 9th inning with a ground ball to shortstop. Crawford throws him out against the new pitcher, left-hander Ty Block for the Giants. Block, who we have seen mostly this year as a starter, now working out of the bullpen. Gerard Dyson. Pitcher spot up next. Devin Marrero in the on-deck circle for the D-backs. Dyson tonight 0 for 3. Jody Jackson standing by. D-backs live post-game show. We'll hear from Tor Lavello, some of the D-backs players from inside the clubhouse on the opener of this 6-game road trip. 3 against the Giants and 3 at Colorado. Gonna have to brush this one off and come back and get him tomorrow night against Madison Bumgarner, who makes his 2018 debut. Patrick Corbin going for the Diamondbacks. 2-2. Full count, 3-2. Second relief appearance of the year for Ty Block. He made 10 last year. Dyson squirts one through by a diving Panic and into center. A 1-out single.
Well, with that base hit by Gerard Dyson, every spot in the Diamondbacks lineup, save for the pitcher spot, except David Peralta, has had at least one hit in this game. Unfortunately, they just haven't been able to bunch them together. That 4th inning was the only time they were able to put anything together. The Goldie leadoff single, a walk by Jake Lamb with 1 out, and then the Marte double. Everything else has been pretty spread out offensively for the Diamondbacks.
Now with 7 hits, Marrero hits for Boxberger. Backs up Crawford. They get 1, and that's the ball game. D-backs on a 6-game road trip against a couple of division contenders get off to a disappointing start as they drop the opener here in San Francisco 10-3 on what, Bob, turned out to be a rough night for Zach Godley.
Yeah, it looked like Zach was kind of getting back into shape again, making some good pitches, and just kind of lost it there in that 4th inning after his team gave him a 2-run lead. He turned around and gave 7 right back to him.
Back from AT&T Park after this, D-backs drop the opener here 10-3.